Things are heating up around crypto with regulations with the SEC and technically even with politics. But what if I told you that there is a much larger movement happening behind the scenes, and we are going to be talking about it because it is still ongoing now. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If we look at what recently got posted by CoinDesk, now they deleted this post originally and they reposted it now not once, but also twice. And over here, we could see a lot of the community pretty much outraged if we look through this. It's very funny, right? But if we actually look at a lot of these media companies like CoinDesk or even Cointelegraph, I spoke out about these two because even with Hedera, with the BlackRock announcement, they were just constantly, posting hit piece after hit piece, talking down on and fudding Hedera and ultimately killing the overall price action. Again, this is a big problem. And the problem that I also see when it comes to Cointelegraph or even CoinDesk is they will utilize sources that are anti whatever they're reporting on. For an example, in this post about Ripple and XRP, their source would essentially be like an Ethereum maxi. They have done that in the past, especially even with Hedera, with utilizing sources like an ADA maxi. This is the big problem around this space with media. But over here we have Ripple won big in California court last week, but the judge's ruling muddied the waters on whether XRP could be considered a security. Crypto lawyers say it's a symptom of a bigger problem. Let's be honest, you want to dominate this next crypto cycle and make a ton of money. And the best way to do that is by being a part of the Discord. Currently, it is $100 per month, but the best part is that I'm offering you guys 7 days completely free. You get access to everything. You can cancel at any moment. You don't even have to get charged at all. And you get access to a ton of features like these ones listed out on the screen right now. And don't just take it from me. Check out some of the testimonials that are from members of the Discord. There is a ton of great insights being dropped in there every single day. You need to be a part of it. And if you guys aren't yet, at least just trial it and see if you like it. And you can do this by clicking the link down in the description below. Now we have Brad Garlinghouse weighing in on this, and we have CoinDesk. This is embarrassing. The California judge did not call XRP a security. In fact, only XRP and Bitcoin have clarity in the US. You've already had to delete a misleading tweet after correcting a misleading headline on this topic once. The industry needs CoinDesk to be better. And I completely agree. This is a big problem. And you know what? The XRP community has been really kind of dealing with this for a very long time, right? We've been hit with FUD after FUD after FUD and negativity and hate, and it's just ridiculous at this point. But they continue to push this, and I truly do believe that at some point in time, these media companies will need to either, one, have regulations put on them, or two, they'll just cease to exist because these media companies are doing a terrible job. And I've spoken out about this on many occasions. Now, this did get hit with community notes. We actually see here the ruling in California did not affect the non-security status ruling by Judge Annalisa Torres in New York. This was confirmed by Ripple's CLO, Stuart Alderoty. And yeah, again, this is just ridiculous. Now, also, Cowboy Crypto did put out a post regarding this, and we could see here that remember that Bullish owns CoinDesk. Bullish Exchange CEO Tom Farley was standing next to Bill Hinman and Jack Ma at the Alibaba IPO. Again, just shows you that these waters, in terms of media reporting, is actually muddied. It's not about, CoinDesk, being the problem here or not. Like, it's just ridiculous. But this goes all the way back to, June 21st, when the original post got posted. And now, 7-8 days later, they're reposting it again. Like, what is going on with these media companies? And I think that we know. I think that we know because it feels as though someone is getting paid. There's paid FUD floating around the space. And even with Hedera, I said, it's pay to play essentially in the space. And it's sad. Now, beyond this, we can go over here to Brad Garlinghouse's recent post. Now, I did include this in a video talking about how the SEC case was planned, and it definitely was. I talked about it. I addressed it, and I went deep into the connections with the FSB, with Ripple, and so forth. But I want to bring this back up because I am going to connect the dots on how much bigger of a picture this actually is outside of just the SEC, because it's not an SEC problem. No, there's a much bigger issue here, and it starts with Operation Choke Point 2.0. Let's go back in time to September. This is Senator Bill Hagerty. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is live and being targeted at taking out the cryptocurrency industry in America. And this is on live television back in September.
About Gary Gensler's crackdown that's paving the way for a central bank digital currency. Look, I think he's trying to strangle crypto through the courts. What's your take?
I think you're exactly right, and we're seeing it unfold through the regulators' eyes. They're using the FDIC and the Federal Reserve supervisors to essentially execute Operation Choke Point 2.0. This time the targeted industry is the cryptocurrency industry. They're creating all types of uncertainty. You know, Gensler is using the opportunity to enforce via litigation. I mean, to regulate via enforcement. And this is creating tremendous uncertainty. What they're going to do, and this may be their aim, is to push all of the innovation associated with cryptocurrency and the blockchain offshore. They're paving the way for a central bank digital currency, and you have to look no further than Communist China to see what they're doing with the digital yuan, to see the danger in this. Communist China can use the digital yuan to determine what you can buy, what you can't buy, where your currency is good, where you can't spend it, where you can, and they're pushing that out on an international basis right now. We need to be very concerned about these developments.
Now, outside of this, we also have over here from the Wolf of All Streets, and this goes back to December of 2023. I did include this in a video from probably a couple months ago, but we have banking regulators closed Signature on a weekend. It did not collapse. They were not insolvent. This was a direct attack on crypto, Operation Choke Point 2.0. Check it out.
This is where we all got our tin foil hats on, because Signature Bank didn't technically collapse. The regulators closed it down on a weekend. There was no evidence that Signature Bank had actually had a sizable bank run. There was no evidence that anyone was unable to withdraw money that they wanted. There was legitimate fear that because it was similar to the Silvergate and Silicon Valley Bank, that it could collapse because a lot of crypto people were losing money, taking money out. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Even if it's not a bank run, a hell of a lot of people were taking their money out of the bank at this time. But this closed down the final rail, really, that crypto companies had for settling. All of a sudden, the entire crypto industry in the United States was unbanked just because these three banks went out of business. So think about that. There's thousands of banks. They all had the same treasury risk. They all had the same problems. But the only three that collapsed in March were the ones that were servicing the crypto industry. This is where we all got our...
And this is exactly what we have been talking about, right? Like, you know, cutting off capital to the space through, you know, these banks and this massive attack on these banks as well to really kind of target crypto was just crazy to me. And even Nick Carter did bring this back up on June 27th, just recently. Even as Silvergate and Signature have faded from memory, I remain utterly enraged about what happened to those two firms. The way the USG and financial regulators acted was utterly lawless and brazen. The objective was to destroy domestic crypto post-FTX, and it almost worked. And we have a year on, I continue to believe what I wrote at the time was correct. And as time passes, we get more and more evidence it was accurate. I recommend reading my account of what happened, and this is, did the government start a global financial crisis in attempt to destroy crypto? The popular mainstream press narrative and the narrative coming from the admin about what happened to Signature and Silvergate is totally wide of the mark. I am 100% certain today, with the benefit of a year's worth of data, that they were executed rather than dying by suicide. And this is exactly what happened, right? Like, as we really look at these two, you know, it was a clear target put on them by the government to attack crypto. And it was ever since FTX, right? Like, even FTX, in my opinion, was a planted seed, watching it grow and grow and grow, and all of a sudden they were saying, all right, now it's time to pull the rug. And immediately after that, it wasn't even a full 24 hours, we already saw the regulators and Elizabeth Warren and all the big players, you know, coming out saying that we need stricter regulations, we need to, you know, get control of this space. And, you know, that was clear to me that FTX did get the green pass through, you know, through the SEC to go out here and grow massively as a, you know, ticking time bomb to utilize it as an example to target these other exchanges. Now, outside of that, as we do look at the one comment here where we have, if crypto can't survive the failure of a traditional bank, what's the point of crypto? Guys, it's not so much about surviving. We did survive. The problem is startups, right? Like, how are we going to get capital? How are we going to, go out and get the money to build these, use cases and projects? They look for banks. They look for pro crypto banks. And, there's only a few of them. There's really not that many pro crypto banks out there. So as we really look at this, right, we look at a crypto bank that's in the space that has been trying to pave a way towards becoming a bank that can provide capital to these startups. And that is Custodia Bank. And even recently, and I did make a video on this as well, it's from Meta Lawman, Custodia Bank has sued the Fed because it failed to approve Custodia's application for a Fed master account. And this was all a part of Operation Choke Point 2.0. This is the Federal Reserve. It's not just the SEC. No, it's the Fed, it's the SEC, it's all of them, right? This is a much bigger problem than just the SEC. And even recently, we have Caitlin Long, going back to April, confirmed there is definitely a witch hunt underway to debank fintech and crypto companies in the US. It's very political. It's a legal wrong and may violate the FDIC's 2019 Operation Choke Point lawsuit settlement. Debanking should be an election issue in November. And, we're now starting to see the elections putting a lot of pressure on the stance of like, hey, guess what? You need to be pro crypto or you will lose out on a ton of voters. Now, recently, the Democrats and even the Republicans have started to really flip bullish on crypto. But even more recently, back in May, we got a veto on a major bill, SAB 121. That was a huge blow. And again, it showed us that Operation Choke Point 2.0 is still alive and well. And even over here, we have what the Dems and Biden admin are still doing. Now, again, I do think that there's still some issues happening around the Republicans as well. I don't think it's just Dems because we've talked about this in the past. There was a lot of issues happening even around the Republicans back before like 2021. So, again, I think that kind of both sides, definitely there's problems on both sides. But on the, Democratic side, it feels as though it's been, just a constricted space for the last couple years. And we have here that the OCC refuses to enact Brian Brooks' fair access banking rule to prohibit federally chartered banks from denying financial services such as lending to would-be clients on political or ideological grounds. Enforcement actions against Coinbase, Binance, Kraken. SEC refuses Coinbase petition for rulemaking. Wells notice to Consensus, Uniswap Labs, Paxos. We have SEC incorporates DeFi into expansive dealer rule without faithfully applying the requirements of the Administrative Procedures Act. SEC incorporates crypto trading systems, including DeFi, into exchange amendments requiring registration as exchanges compliance with regulations. Like, this is like all of these moves. Like, look at how crazy these moves are. And these are all anti-crypto moves, by the way. Like, this is not like, oh, we're going after this player or that player. No, like, these are all anti-crypto moves, which is ridiculous to say the least. Like, this is all happening in the last 4 years. And a lot of this has actually happened in just the last year alone. So think about how crazy that is. So as we really look at what's going on here, there's a big problem happening. And it seems as though the only way forward is for these companies like Custodia Bank to actually go out and sue the Fed and sue these players that are a part of this. Like, for an example, we just got an announcement that Coinbase is now suing the SEC and the FDIC to get to the bottom of the government's Operation Choke Point 2.0 attack on the crypto industry. This is supposed to be what we pay Congress to do. Let's put an end to the corruption, send in the Marines, send Johnny Deaton 1 to the Senate. Like, again, like, as we really look at Johnny Deaton, I don't know if he's going to be able to get too much done. And that's not me being negative or anything. I hope he does, if he does get in, of course. But there seems to be a much bigger problem at hand beyond just the Senate. I feel as though we need a complete restructure happen because unless we have the Fed, the SEC, I mean, there's so many that are a part of this. It seems as though the entire admin, from the FDIC to the Fed to the SEC to even the DOJ, like, there is so many problems happening right now around crypto. You can clearly see that crypto is still being targeted. It's still in the crosshairs. This is why I say, like, the SEC lawsuit was planned. It feels as though this entire space is just getting, constrict it for control. They want control. They want to hold this space back. And the big question is it to just usher in the infrastructure? Is it to just usher in regulations? Like, do they want to slow this space down so that the regulations and the infrastructure are in place? Or are they actually trying to kill crypto? That's the big question, right? And we don't really know for 100% certainty what the answer to that question really is yet. Because again, from an overall perspective here and just looking at some of these updates, right? You'd argue that this is basically just a major threat to crypto, and it seems as though they're trying to constrict it and kill it. That's the big problem. That's what we want to avoid. And again, I don't think that they're going to be successful in killing this space because technology will always thrive. It will continue to expand. It will continue to grow. And I don't think that there's any way that they're going to stop it, at least outside of the US. Maybe in the US, they could restrict it, but I don't think that that's going to be beneficial for them. And I honestly think that that will just become a much bigger problem for them as well. So we'll see what happens. But in my opinion, I do think that Operation Choke Point 2.0 is still alive and well. And it's a big problem. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.